A linebacker coming back with unfinished business. A college safety, the experts say, is actually an upgrade over what was here before, and that's kind of scary. And a Super Bowl champ who picked the Bears for one reason that has everything to do with Caleb Williams. Fear, hope, and urgency all in one video. If you bounce now, you're going to miss the story that is changing the narrative of this franchise for good. First story, Jack Sanborn, 4 years in Chicago. 164 tackles, 14 tackles for loss, 4.5 sacks, a Brian Piccolo Award as a rookie, and after all that, Jack Sanborn left for Dallas, chasing a fresh start. That makes sense. Anyone in that spot is going to look for new challenges, new opportunities, and this guy had every right to test the market, but Dallas did not work out like it was supposed to. A groin injury in 2025 sent him to injured reserve after only 6 games, 5 of them as a starter, and his season ended before it really even got going. And now Chicago is calling him back. The Bears and Jack Sanborn have agreed to a 1-year deal, and the linebacker is coming back to the city where that pro career was built. But let me ask this straight up. Why are the Bears bringing Sanborn back right now specifically? Look at the bigger picture. This team just cut Tremaine Edmonds, opening up $15 million in cap room. They signed Devin Bush to a 3-year, $30 million contract. They have TJ Edwards locked in as a clear starter. They re-signed DeMarco Jackson. They kept Noah Sewell and Ruben Hippolyte II. So to me, Sanborn is not walking in here as the guy. He's coming in to fight for snaps in the rotation and to cover on special teams. That matters, but it is not exactly what some Chi-Town fans probably pictured when they saw the headline. Let us dig into Jack Sanborn's real numbers because this player deserves a legit breakdown, not just quick hit reactions. In his first run with the Bears from 2022 through 2024, Sanborn played in 48 games with 19 starts. He put up 164 tackles, 14 tackles for loss, 4.5 sacks, 1 interception, and 5 passes defensed. His best individual season was 2023, when he started 10 games and posted career highs with 67 tackles, 7 tackles for loss, plus an interception. As a rookie in 2022, he finished with 64 tackles, 2 sacks, and a Pro Football Focus grade of 71.1, which is very respectable for an undrafted player. On top of that, he won the Brian Piccolo Award, which in Chicago carries a ton of emotional weight for fans who actually know this franchise's history. Here's what this tells me, and I am saying this as clearly as I can. The fact that the Bears went back out and got Sanborn says something about how this front office views its players. They did not just let him fade away. They kept tabs on him, watched what went down in Dallas, and when the opportunity popped open, they brought him back. That reflects well on Ryan Poles and how he handles relationships inside this building. But it also tells me the Bears see Sanborn as an important role player, not a week-to-week starter right now. Let us be real. The Chicago linebacker room in 2026 has layers. TJ Edwards is the leader, the trusted one, and that is not up for debate. Devin Bush walks in with $30 million committed and has to perform at that level, or the conversation is going to get real awkward real fast. After that, you have Sanborn, Jackson, Sewell, and Hippolyte fighting for reps, rotational spots, and special teams roles. It is a room with legit talent, but also a room where someone is going to be the odd one out or stuck with very limited snaps when final cuts hit. Here's what I want you to think about. Jack Sanborn is 25 years old. That is prime years for a linebacker. 1 injury-shortened season in Dallas does not erase 4 years of production in Chicago. If he stays healthy, and if Ben Johnson and Dennis Allen give him a fair shot, I think Sanborn can surprise a lot of people in 2026. Depth at linebacker is a luxury a lot of NFL teams just do not have, and Chicago has it right now. That internal competition is going to raise the bar for everyone in that room. That is great for the team, even if it is not always what one individual player wants to hear. There's another piece here that I cannot just gloss over. Sanborn originally signed with the Bears as an undrafted free agent in 2022. No first-round pedigree, no second-round pedigree, no guarantee of even sticking in the league, and still this player fought through it, earned respect in that locker room, and ended up starting on a Chicago defense that made the playoffs. That says a lot about the character of this person. I respect that a ton, but if that already surprises you, wait until you hear what comes next, because the Bears are not done reshaping this defense, and this next story is about a decision that might define the future of Chicago's secondary for the next 5 years. Do not go anywhere. Second story, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. All right, we talked about Sanborn coming back and how the Chicago linebacker room has real depth going into 2026, but now we need to talk about the position that keeps me up at night when I look at this defense. The Bears lost Kevin Byard III, 7 interceptions in 2025, first-team All-Pro, one of the best safeties in the whole league last year, now gone to New England, and they lost Jaquan Brisker, 4 years in Chicago, now gone to Pittsburgh. 2 starting safeties, both of them played all 17 regular season games in 2025. Both were big pieces in a defense that was good enough to win the NFC North and grab the first playoff win since 2010. And now both of them are gone, off to AFC teams, both on 1-year deals. That hurts, Bears fans. I am not going to sugarcoat it. That hurts. But this is where it gets interesting, and I need you locked in because this has ripple effects for the next 5 years of this team. Daniel Jeremiah from NFL Network, one of the most respected draft analysts in the business, dropped a new mock draft this week and projected that the Chicago Bears will use the 25th overall pick in the first round on safety Emmanuel McNeil-Warren out of the University of Toledo. That alone is a big headline, but what Jeremiah wrote after making that prediction is what really has Chicago buzzing. Jeremiah wrote this word for word: McNeil-Warren has the size, length, and playmaking ability to fill the void left by Jaquan Brisker. In fact, I believe EMW would be an upgrade at that spot. An upgrade, not just a replacement, an upgrade. How long have we been waiting to hear that the Bears are not just plugging holes, but actually upgrading this roster with better talent? Because that is exactly what Jeremiah is saying right there. Now let us go to the Emmanuel McNeil-Warren numbers, because hype without on-field production does not mean anything. This player appeared in 48 games over 4 seasons at Toledo. He racked up 214 total tackles, including 11 tackles for loss. He logged 13 passes defensed, 9 forced fumbles, 5 interceptions, 1 sack, and 1 defensive touchdown. He is 22 years old, stands 6 feet 3 1/2 inches, and weighs 201 pounds. At the NFL Combine in February, he ran the 40-yard dash in 4.52 seconds and posted a 35.5-inch vertical jump. Let us pause on those 9 forced fumbles for a second, because in Chicago, that has a very specific meaning. The Bears have built a defensive identity around the peanut punch, the forced fumble as a systematic weapon. Going back to the days of Charles Peanut Tillman, 9 forced fumbles in a college career for McNeil-Warren is not some random fluke. It is a skill. It is a mindset. And I am telling you this, that makes this player tailor-made for what Dennis Allen is trying to build in this Chicago defense. Lance Zierlein from NFL Network, another top-tier evaluator, has McNeil-Warren graded as the 3rd best safety in the 2026 class. Zierlein wrote that McNeil-Warren is a long, aggressive safety who can beef up a team's run defense and play as an enforcer in the middle of the field. Zierlein says this safety is at maximum value when lined up near the line of scrimmage or in a robber role. He also points out that McNeil-Warren reads routes well in coverage and closes quickly on receivers, though this player does need some schematic protection to avoid bad speed mismatches. I think that scouting report is exactly the type of safety Ben Johnson and Dennis Allen want lined up next to Kobe Bryant. And speaking of Bryant, if the Bears draft McNeil-Warren with pick 25, they are setting up a safety duo that mixes legit Super Bowl experience with top-shelf college athleticism. Bryant is walking in as a champ from Seattle. McNeil-Warren comes in hungry to prove Toledo is not just some random stop, but a program that sends real dudes to the NFL. Draft context matters here too. According to Jeremiah's projections, McNeil-Warren would be the 3rd safety off the board. The first would be Caleb Downs out of Ohio State, going to Cincinnati at pick 10. The second would be Dylan Thieneman from Oregon, going to Minnesota at pick 18. Then at 25, Chicago grabs McNeil-Warren. That means the Bears would be getting what Jeremiah sees as the 3rd best safety in the class at pick 25. That is value. That is doing your homework on draft night. Now, I want to throw a question at you, and I think this is what splits the fan base. Does it make sense to use pick 25 on a safety when this defense is still hurting for a pass rush. The Bears have always been a team that needs a nasty pass rush for the secondary to really shine. Going back to Richard Dent, Mike Singletary, Brian Urlacher, Khalil Mack, this organization knows that without pressure, the back end is going to get exposed no matter who is playing back there. So the real question is this: with pick 25, are you getting more value from a safety or from an edge rusher who can flip games? Here's where I land, and you can agree or disagree. If Kobe Bryant can play at the level that showed up in Seattle, and if McNeil Warren walks in and produces from week one the way Jeremiah and Zierlein think, then Ryan Poles might have just built one of the best safety tandems in the NFC North, and in a division with Jordan Love, Sam Darnold, and Jared Goff. Having that kind of back-end strength matters a ton, but all of that is nothing compared to what is next, because story number 3 today involves Caleb Williams directly. And what this young quarterback is doing to flip the culture of this franchise is something Chicago has been waiting decades to see. Do not go anywhere. Third story, Kobe Bryant and Caleb Williams. We have reached the story that might be the biggest one of the whole video. I need you focused here because this is not just another free agency signing. This is a culture statement. This is a sign that something fundamentally different is happening at 1920 Football Drive in Lake Forest, Illinois. The Chicago Bears signed safety Kobe Bryant, formerly of the Seattle Seahawks, to a 3-year, $40 million contract on day one of NFL free agency. Bryant is 26 years old, arrives with a Super Bowl ring from Seattle, and in 58 career games with the Seahawks, posted 227 total tackles, 2 sacks, 7 interceptions, and 17 passes defensed. This is a serious player. This is a player who had options, and this player chose Chicago. Now, let me ask this. How many times in the last 10 years have we seen a player with real choices, with a Super Bowl already on the resume, say, I want to go to Chicago? You could probably count those on one hand and still have fingers left over. For years, the narrative around this franchise was the exact opposite. Players stayed away from the Bears. This team was not pulling in top-tier free agents because there was no convincing reason to come, no clear future at quarterback, no clear long-term vision upstairs. And Chicago, being Chicago, with that Lake Michigan wind in January and no Lombardi since 1985, is not exactly the first spot on the wish list for a young player in the prime years chasing rings. That changed, and that change has one very specific name: Caleb Williams. Kobe Bryant went on the Kay Adams show, Up and Adams, and said something every Chicago fan needs to listen to closely. Bryant said this about Williams: with Caleb Williams, it is just the special talent that is there, the leader that is there. That was actually the first person to reach out when the deal got done. We were texting, catching up, getting to know each other, just talking about what could be built. The fact that there was that reach out meant a lot. Honestly, with my spot at safety and that spot at quarterback and that recognition of my game and vice versa, elite talent, that is just scratching the surface right now. I am fired up to watch that quarterback play and watch that greatness this year. Let me stop right there. Caleb Williams was the first call Kobe Bryant got after signing. The Bears quarterback at 23 years old is already making the kind of leadership moves elite quarterbacks make when they are trying to build winners. This player did not wait for the coaching staff or the player engagement people to make the first contact. That quarterback picked up the phone. That quarterback recognized Bryant's talent. That quarterback personally invited this safety to Chicago. That is leadership. That is what a real franchise quarterback looks like. Let me say this with all the passion I have for this team. During the Mitchell Trubisky years, how many times did we hear a free agent say the quarterback personally called and that call helped close the deal? Never, because Trubisky was never that type of quarterback. That is not a shot at Trubisky as a person. It is just the truth about what that player was and what Caleb Williams is already showing. There is more. Kevin Byard, the safety who just left Chicago for New England, also talked about Williams before leaving, and what was said was huge, especially coming from a player packing up and heading out. Byard said this: I expect that quarterback to be one of the best in the league, if not top 2 or 3, and there are some Super Bowls in the sights there too. That is a quarterback who comes through in big-time spots. There is that clutch gene you just cannot coach. The clutch gene you cannot coach. That is what Kevin Byard said about Caleb Williams, a veteran who easily could have left town, taking shots at the situation like plenty of players have done here in the past. Instead, walked out praising the quarterback staying behind. That is not normal. That says a lot about who Williams is as a leader and as a teammate. Let us circle back to Kobe Bryant for a second because there is a detail about this signing that really shows what Ben Johnson and Ryan Poles are building. Bryant said the Bears called at 7 in the morning, Arizona time, where that player was staying the moment the negotiation window opened 7 in the morning. That means Chicago already had the phone queued up, the offer ready, and the mindset to be the first team on that call before anyone else could get in the mix. Bryant said this, it was just that feeling of being wanted, honestly. The call came at 7 in the morning. I am in Arizona, so that was early, and I had just woken up. That lit the fire right away. Like I said, just being wanted and having them chase me like that, it was not easy. You know, leaving Seattle after 4 years. At the end of the day, I am blessed, and that is what brought me to Chicago. There are franchises in this league that sit back and hope talent falls in their lap, and there are franchises that get up before sunrise to go out and get that talent. The 2026 Bears are that second type. And that, Chicago Bears fans, is exactly the type of organization this city has needed. Bryant also dropped a line that I think is the perfect way to close this story. I already saw what was being built from day one with that team last year. Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams, all those guys, it is absolutely going to be special. I am excited to be part of it. I already saw what was being built. That means the Bears' reputation in 2026 is so strong that a Super Bowl champ took this deal because from the outside looking in, there was something here worth joining. There was Caleb Williams. There was Ben Johnson. There was a front office with a clear direction, a quarterback leading the way, and a coach who knows what is going on. And that player said, I want in to put what this safety brings on the field into perspective. Bryant is coming in with solid production from 4 years in Seattle, 227 total tackles, 2 sacks, 7 interceptions, 17 passes defensed. Those numbers do not scream all pro, but they tell you this is a reliable, technically sound player who makes plays when it matters. In Dennis Allen's defense, where communication on the back end is everything, having someone with Super Bowl experience can raise the level of every younger player in that group, including, for example, if the Bears do end up drafting Emmanuel McNeil-Warren at pick 25. Picture this, Kobe Bryant with a Super Bowl ring next to Emmanuel McNeil-Warren with that young energy and forced fumble skill, both of them working under secondary coach Al Harris, who last year helped Kevin Byard and Nahshon Wright both reach the Pro Bowl. That is the vision. That is the timeline. And if it all clicks, this could turn into one of the best safety duos in the NFC North over the next 3 years. And it all started because Caleb Williams sent Kobe Bryant a text. Because a 23-year-old quarterback, only in the second NFL season, is already acting like a leader who pulls in top-tier talent, while the Packers ride Jordan Love, hoping the breakout was real, and the Vikings are searching for stability with Sam Darnold, and Detroit is still betting that Jared Goff can take them to a Super Bowl. Chicago has a quarterback already making needle-moving plays before the season even kicks off. So here is what I want from you, and I want you to drop this in the comments because I care about this answer. If Caleb Williams keeps pulling this kind of talent to Chicago, keeps being the first call for every new teammate, keeps being the leader this franchise has been missing for so long, how many years do you think it will take before the Bears are legitimately in the Super Bowl conversation? Because I do not think the answer is maybe someday anymore. I think the answer is starting to look a lot like sooner than anyone expected. And in a city like Chicago, after everything this fan base has gone through since 1985, that is something worth celebrating. Bear down, Chicago. This is just getting started. Before you head out, stick around for one more minute because what we broke down in this video is not just filler content. These are 3 stories that are shaping where the Chicago Bears are going in 2026. And I want to hear exactly what you think on Jack Sanborn. The linebacker is back in Chicago battling for a spot in a roster that is deeper than it has been in years. So here's the straight-up question. Do you think Sanborn can win a starting job in this defense next to TJ Edwards and Devin Bush? Or do you see this move more as depth and special teams help? Drop your answer in the comments right now. On Emmanuel McNeil Warren, Daniel Jeremiah is calling for the Bears to spend pick 25 on the Toledo safety and says that would actually be an upgrade over Jaquan Brisker. But here's what I want to know. Do you believe using pick 25 on a safety is the right call when this defense is also starving for pass rush? Or do you think Bryant plus McNeil Warren could form the best safety tandem in the NFC North? Tell me in the comments. I want to read every take on Kobe Bryant and Caleb Williams. This is the question I care about the most from this whole video. Caleb Williams is already pulling talent into Chicago, personally calling new teammates, and being the leader this franchise has needed. How many years do you think it will take before this team is really in the mix for a Super Bowl? Drop a number in the comments. I want to see what the most passionate Bears community on YouTube is thinking. Look, this channel is built for you, for the fans who live and breathe Navy and Orange every single day of the year, the ones who know exactly what it feels like to wait since 1985, the ones who never tap out, even when that lakefront cold cuts straight to the bone in January. This community is a family, and this family grows every time one of you tells another Bears fan that this is where you get the sharpest breakdowns, the realest opinions, and the most passion for this team on all of YouTube. If you are not subscribed to the channel yet, this is the moment. Hit that subscribe button right now. Turn on the notification bell so you do not miss a single Bears update, because I promise you the stories coming in the weeks leading up to the April 23rd draft are going to be even bigger than what we talked about today. And if you are already part of this family, do one thing for me. Share this video with that friend you know is a Bears fan, but still has no idea what is really happening with this team. Bring more people into this community. Let us grow this together. That is all for today. I am Miguel Morales. This is the channel where real Bears fans come for the truth. Bear down, Chicago. See you in the next video.